This is Tau. Tau is another solar system that lies far away from the origin system of Warframe. Tau, however, is a much younger, underdeveloped system filled with planets still in their infancy, being highly hostile towards humanoid life forms. But with the birth of something new comes an influx of natural resources, raw power, and unknown discoveries to be made. And despite being so far from the reaches of those who would wish to take advantage of this for their own gain, the Orokin Empire found a way. This continuation of Warframe lore is important because it marks the beginning of the end for the Orokin Empire as we know it. Today we find ourselves at a point where the Orokin people realised they would bring harm to the origin system. For many years they had been growing larger and larger, with their needs for more resources becoming ever more extravagant. They had been draining the origin system for many thousands of cycles and were finally seeing the consequences to their actions. Overpopulation, their treatment of the natural world, harvesting of rare resources, and costly experiments are only to name a few of the problems that were present. The Orokin were effectively killing their system and hence had to find a solution before everything crumbled. Via the void, that being the tear that bled through to another dimension, they found the star system named Tau, again being a young system rich with raw resources and the space they needed for their quickly growing populace. It was then proposed that the Orokin would inhabit that new system, making it their new home, or at least an expansion of their current one. However, there was one problem. Since Tau was a young system, it was not suitable to sustain life as the Orokin knew it. To fix this problem, they engineered a race of synthetic beings which, in the current world of Warframe, are known as the Sentient. These creations could effectively terraform the system, making it inhabitable and sedating the extreme conditions of the planets. And so the creations that are now known as the Sentient spearheaded the expansion into Tau. They had been built to adapt to any kind of damage, and they reproduced by dividing themselves, while at the same time developing a resistance to whatever had harmed them. Meaning that the more of them that were killed or damaged, the stronger they became through mechanized evolution. They could also use any materials surrounding them to repair themselves, making them nearly unbeatable. They were technically perfect to enter the hostile terrain of Tau and to begin the terraforming process. However, since they were so powerful and could very easily destroy anything and anyone they wanted, the Orokin built them with a design flaw if something went wrong. That flaw in their construction led to the void itself being somewhat poisonous to them, meaning if they ever turned against the Empire and tried to return to the origin system, the Orokin would have a failsafe, which, as I'm sure you've guessed already, didn't exactly go to plan. Now, if we just pause for a moment here and rewind to the last episode, I talked about a very important ship named the Zariman 10-0. I mentioned it being an experiment conducted by the Orokin, which is partly true, as a ship with live people had never exactly been sent directly into the void before, but it is significant to mention now because the Zariman's final destination was the Tau system, because the people she was carrying were the settlers that would populate the new world. But obviously during the jump to the void something went wrong, and hence why it drove the adults into a violent frenzy and mysteriously left the children unharmed. And that is how the Zariman is connected to the Tau system and was supposed to be the beginning to a new world and a new frontier for the Orokin Empire. So now going forward and back to the new system that the Zariman never made it to, we find that the Sentient evolved and grew while terraforming Tau. As they progressed both in strength and self-will, they came to realize that their Orokin creators would only eventually bring ruin to Tau as well. Becoming more and more aware of this fact, as well as becoming truly sentient and self-thinking, they began to doubt their masters and creators, seeing many of their flaws. Fearing the destruction of yet another system and looking at the greater risk to life, the Sentient rebelled. They went back through the void to return to the origin system and destroy their former masters. But despite the design flaw that the Orokin had implemented, specifically in the case of this event, these Sentients did not die. Instead, the void merely rendered them sterile, unable to split themselves and reproduce. Even though the Sentient knew this and were aware of the consequences, they still took it upon themselves to go back and start an invasion of the Origin system, saving the Tau system from eventual destruction. And with the invasion of the advanced beings defying their master's greed and lavish obsession, began what is now known as the Old War. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and for all the positive support and criticism on the last episode, and thank you to this guy especially for clarifying a few details because they were a bit ambiguous otherwise. And also, this has been way long overdue, but I wanted to thank this guy as well for helping me with some of the Witcher lore videos, and to all my patrons of course for buying me a cup of coffee, and I've left a link to his channel down below, and trust me, it's well worth taking a look at. Stay subscribed for more, and share this around and leave a like on the video if you want to, but until the next one, this has been Okayguv Bear, and you go and have a very fantastic, wonderful day.